This is Nationwide, and we are live on Africa's largest TV network, the NTA. I'm Rhoda Albo, and you're welcome. The 2017 Technology Expo ends with pomp and ceremony. Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Bunaya Onu, says the groundwork has been done for the commencement of science and technology in Nigeria. Science correspondent Kirian Umar reports that over 200 exhibitors and investors attended the 5-day event.
The event represents the gathering of Nigeria's intellectual community, involving universities, technical colleges, secondary and primary schools, all the 17 agencies under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, individual inventors, corporate bodies and investors from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Dr. Bunaya Onu is optimistic.
It is the spirit of adventure that nurtures creativity, which fires innovation as a driving force in opening new frontiers. We should never forget that adventure is the manure that nurtures creativity to thrive and blossom.
Chairman, Assessment and Award Subcommittee, Professor Peter Onwalo, commended exhibitors and recommended selected ones for various awards. Some of the exhibitors speak.
It is a successful story. You can see the attendance, the current innovation in Naseni, inventions in all sectors, agricultural implement, electrical, electronic products, automations, aviation sector, so many.
Automated aquaculture system. It's a system where the feeding is done by automated, and also the water is made to recycle automatically.
It's been 5 days of a total exhibition of Nigeria's intellectual resources, from nanotechnology to quantum science. We've seen so many projects as presented by universities, laboratories, research institutes and individuals who have been here for 5 days to display their intellectual property. Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
And today is World Health Day, a day set aside to raise awareness and mobilize action on topical health issues. The theme for this year is depression, which World Health Organization report says is a leading cause of ill health and disabilities. It is in the view that the Universal Peace Federation joined concerned groups to raise awareness on the challenge of depression, which the World Health Organization last report says has about 30 million people living with it.
Not to allow tension, anxiety, and situations like that to overcome you. And as we said at this meeting, a stitch in time saves 9. When these things are coming, you suppress them. Don't allow them to grow on you.
We need to continue to advocate for policies to strengthen the family in this way. So, and then when we deal with the social issues of the economic situation, the issue of corruption, and create a conducive environment. But the major place where we can deal with the issue of depression is to create lovely families. Families where people care for each other, live for the sake of one another.
Experts say there has been an increase of more than 18% of depression cases between 2005 and 2015. Following some losses in the courts on corruption cases, the federal government on Wednesday filed an appeal against the decision of Justice Jude Okeke to uphold a no-case submission in the corruption case against Justice Adeniyi Ademola, Mrs. Olabowale Ademola and Mr. Joe Agi. The Ministry of Justice has also filed a fresh case in the Code of Conduct Tribunal against Justice Ademola and wife for living above their means and failure to declare their assets of interest. It is the decision of the trial judge that the offence of giving and receiving gratification was made out by the prosecution against the defendants in the case of the evidence held in court. Prosecution witness gave testimony of the payment of 30 million naira in 3 tranches by Mr. Joe Agi into the account of Mrs. Olabowale Ademola and wife of Justice Ademola. While not condemning the judgment of the land trial judge, the ruling, however, failed to address the relevance of Section 53 of the ICPC Act, which raised a presumption of corruption in respect of gratification in question. The presidency has therefore appealed what it describes as a very strange outcome considering the underlying facts. It is even more strange that the trial was not allowed to continue considering the applicable statutory provision. Section 53 subsection 1 of the ICPC Act raises a presumption that any gratification accepted or obtained by an accused person must have been corruptly accepted or obtained until the contrary is proven. Section 60 of the Act does not apply to the case. Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, however, clears the hair that the development is not in any way points to a rift between the executives and the judiciary, but to put the law in proper perspective. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the reconstruction of board of 19 agencies and parastatals under the Ministry of Education for a period of 4 years. This is in pursuant to his pass under the law establishing the parastatals under the Ministry of Education.
The agencies and their chairman includes National Universities Commission, NUC, Professor Ayo Banjo, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED Fund, Chief Emeka Nwajuba, Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, Dr. Mahmoud Mohammed, National Examination Council, NECO, Dr. Abubakar Sadiq, National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education, NMEC, Dr. Gidat Bella Akko, National Commission for Colleges of Education, NCCE, Alhaji Megari Ingiadi, National Teachers Institute, NTI, Senator Malam Kaka Yale, National Mathematical Center, NMC, Professor Buba Bajuga, Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, Dr. Emmanuel Ndukwe, and others.
The determination of President Muhammadu Buhari to develop the Niger Delta region is generating a lot of excitement, especially consideration for the modular refinery as Benesu to a legal refinery as a private sector commits to working hand in hand with the federal government. Vice President Yemi Oshibajo, while receiving a delegation of the Baramatu oil and gas producing community, said there is no going back in government's plan to improving the region. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has the details.
Commenting the initiative of the people in supporting the actualization of government's plans, Vice President Yemi Oshibajo said all modular refineries to be established must be profitable and realistic in order to address critical issues bordering on the development of the region. The Vice President told the delegation from the Baramatu Oil and Gas Producing Trust Fund and the prospective investor in the Baramatu Modular Refinery project that the federal government was committed in addressing challenges in the Niger Delta in a comprehensive manner. Under the plan that is being developed, communities would come together working with their respective state government, the federal government, and private sector operators to work out a template for the establishment of modular refineries in the communities.
Now that there's a political will to do the right thing, we came here to provide a document to show that we are the model. It's now an opportunity to develop our degraded environment and turning the fortune round. The issue of illegal refinery will be over.
We saw it today, which is a dedication for the Vice President that the government is ready and willing to assist in any which way that is business-like, that transparent, as we can see here.
Proposed Baramatu Modular Refinery project is expected to produce 20,000 barrels per day. Earlier, at an interministerial meeting, issues including developments on the planning for the Maritime University, contractors returning to site, and amnesty issues were, among others, discussed. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NT News.
Now, the federal government has reiterated its commitment towards ensuring the dividends of democracy is better felt in all stratas in the country to ensure sustainable growth and development. This was by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir David Lawal, at a memorial lecture and book presentation in honor of late Minister of State for Labour and Employment, James Ocholi.
Just for him to tell me tonight that, look, my friend, I won't be able to go because I have a church Kaduna that I committed to 2 months ago.
James was again a motivating force in that final committee on the constitution review. I don't want to go into other aspects of how he did his work because the legal advisor, our legal advisor then was based in Lagos. So James was based there in Abuja. So most of the cases for the party, a young party that had no money, James there are cases pro bono for the party.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachir David Lawal, and the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, while extolling the virtues of James Ocholi, described him as a diligent and dedicated Nigerian who has left his mark on the sands of time. They both called on attitudinal change amongst Nigerians to be more patriotic in their service to their fatherland. Now, the Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly matters, Senator Ita Enang, has confirmed that there is neither tension nor anything unusual in the relationship between the executives and the legislature in the discharge of their responsibilities for public good. This was at a news briefing at the State House, and State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
Senator Solomon Ita Enang described as false, unfounded and baseless the uninformed insinuation in some quarters that the relationship between the executive and the legislature is frosty.
I am here to again confirm to you that the relationship between the executive and the legislature is all and very, very perfect, cordial, constitutional, and in all manners usual. And the relationship between His Excellency the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Buhari, and the Senate President, Senator Bukola Saraki, is perfect and cordial, personal and official. They are working together, they are in harmony, and they hold consultations on most issues before it arises.
He said even the minor disagreements over the conduct of some presidential nominees and appointees have been addressed with a no-holds-barred interaction between the president and the presiding officers of the National Assembly, as well as between the National Working Committee of the APC and the ruling party's caucus in the parliament.
At any time that you will find the legislature hands in gloves with the executive, without the executive raising question at the legislature or the legislature raising question at the executive, then the public should be worried. Each of them is to check the other. And when these checks arises, that is when the public sometimes feel that there is tension. Absolutely, there is no tension.
Senator Ita Enang takes pride in the fact that so far, members of the executive have been very cooperative and constitutional in dealing with the legislature, following their understanding that the job of the parliamentarians is to reflect the opinions of the people they represent in the course of lawmaking. In all manners, he said, President Buhari has followed the process of the Constitution, and at no time his actions are at variance with the wishes of the legislature. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And unfettered media is one of the criteria for any democracy to be worth its salt. This position was put forward by presidential spokesman Femi Adesina while speaking at the 5th anniversary celebration and awards of the Verbatim magazine in Abuja. Victor Azu has got more details.
The Verbatim magazine's 5th anniversary awards drew dignitaries from all walks of life who converged on Abuja to appreciate the efforts of publishers of the fortnightly publication. Speaking on the theme, Media, Democracy and the Challenge of Nation Building, the Special Advisor to the President of Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, upholds the need for the media to be allowed to operate unhindered for democracy to thrive.
Democracy connotes openness, transparency, accountability, and freedom of speech, which must also be present in a clime where the media is unfettered.
These, to me, are sacred institutions. Institutions that enable us to develop positive attitude, values, morality,
making human society ideally human.
Chairman of the occasion and Nigeria's former ambassador to Austria, Jerry Ogokwe, extolled the efforts of the media in keeping democratic institutions ticking across the world.
This is a profession that demands everything of you.
Awardees include the Minister of Science and Technology, Ogbonnaya, who was represented, and Vice Chancellor of the Nasarawa State University, Professor Muhammad Mainoma. The editor-in-chief of the magazine, Topes Abebu, says passion for excellence has kept the team going these 5 years.
Journalism is good, and it is a commitment. If you don't have that as a spirit, as a watchword, you cannot. That's one of the things that is guiding us.
And then the cutting of the anniversary cake. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA.
You're watching Nationwide on the NTA. We've got more reports for you as we join our Lagos Network Center, where Vera is standing by with reports on the case of the EFCC versus INEC, and of course other stories from our Lagos Network Center. Hello Vera, good afternoon. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Rhoda, and a very warm welcome to Lagos. A director with the Independent National Electoral Commission, Christian Mosu, has been convicted by the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos. He was convicted by Justice Mohammed Idris over his involvement in the collection of money to facilitate the 2015 general elections. Christian Mosu, a director with Independent National Electoral Commission, is one of the 3 staff of INEC arraigned by the EFCC for their alleged involvement in the collection of certain amount of money from the former Minister of Petroleum Resources, Diziani Alison Madueke, for the intent of tampering with the outcome of 2015 general elections. They were arraigned on 7-count charge, which border on conspiracy, gratification and money laundering, as well as making cash payment in excess of what the law authorizes and without going through a financial institution. Christian Wosu, who is also the Administrative Secretary of INEC, had earlier pleaded guilty and elected to enter into plea bargain with the anti-graft agency. EFCC counsel Rotimi Yedapo had informed the court that Wosu, who received 30 million naira, had refunded 5 million and surrendered the document of the landed property he purchased for 25 million naira in Delta State. Though the convicted Christian Wosu and 2 other defendants, Yisa Adedoyi and Bashir Tijani, were absent in court due to gridlock, Adedoyi and Bashir had, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges. Counsel to Wosu Adakumbama prayed the court to show mercy in slamming a sentence on him, since he has shown remorse by returning all he received to the federal government. Justice Idris convicted him as charged. Inland water transportation is one of the models of transportation that is largely underutilized in Nigeria. Commuters would rather travel by road than use this relatively faster means of transportation. Jane Ojuku seek to find out why this mode of transportation is not popular.
Lagos waterways have for a long time remained largely underutilized, as many people prefer to do both their short and long-haul travels by road. This has resulted in the near neglect of the water transportation sector by the private and public sectors. The effect is undue pressure on the roads, particularly in Lagos, a coastal city which ideally should have a robust water transportation sector. Why is it so?
It's just fear. They don't want to risk their life, going by boat.
This private water transport operator says many people are beginning to embrace water transportation as the number of passengers using his jetty is slowly on the increase.
But the traffic is so much in Lagos State now. People have been to come and take boat from Ikorodu to Lagos, from Badagry.
Sometimes you have about average of 500 passengers in a day.
The National Inland Waterways Authority showed us the responsibility of improving and developing the waters for navigation.
We tell them to wear their life jacket and fasten their life jacket properly before they board the boat.
Some passengers who regularly use the ferry services to and from Lekki Ajah axis from the mainland gave reasons for their preference.
Traveling by boat is very easier, safer, and more faster than.
Stakeholders urge the government to invest more in water transportation infrastructure such as channelization, dredging, and lighting of the waterways to make them safer. They expressed the belief that this will go a long way in boosting the viability of the sector, as well as make water transportation attractive to passengers, thereby improving the economic benefits. In Lagos, Jane Ujuku, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide News on the NTA Network Terrace. It's now back to Reda for more reports. Good evening.
Thank you, Vera. The Technical Advisory Committee on a Bill for an Act to repeal the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency has submitted its report to the Senate Committee on Works. National Assembly correspondent Rabi Musa reports that the report highlights global best practices to remove the bottlenecks associated with road maintenance in Nigeria.
The Technical Advisory Committee (TAC) was set up to review submissions of a public hearing on a bill for an act to repeal the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency and reenact the Federal Roads Authority. The chairman, Chris Okoye, said the report is divided into 4 parts covering private sector participation, regulation and administration.
And they're going to have, of course, a regulatory body that is going to be called something. But I am sure that there's another body that is working on the issue of the regulatory body.
The Vice Chairman, Senate Committee on Works, Clifford Odia, said the recommendations will be studied, promising that improvement of roads in Nigeria remains a priority.
On behalf of the Senate Committee on Works, let me welcome the Technical Advisory Committee to this and to request the Chairman of that committee make a formal report.
The Senate Committee held a public hearing last year during which the views of experts were collated on the bill to manage Federal Road Network for safety of people's movement and the delivery of goods and services in the country. Rabi Musa, NTA News.
Concerned by any failure that may arise as a result of the gaps between the 3 tiers of government in achieving the Goal 4 of the SDGs, the Federal Ministry of Education is strengthening its partnership. This was revealed at a 2-day meeting convened by the ministry in Abuja. Abdullahi Musa Suleja has the details.
The Sustainable Development Goals SDGs has 17 components and 169 targets. Goal 4 of the SDGs is to ensure inclusive, equitable, quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by the year 2030. It is in the light of this that this occasion brought together directors of planning, research and statistics from the 36 states of the Federation in Abuja to let them know the importance of synergy between them and the people. The Ministry's Permanent Secretary was represented by Director of Procurement Dr. Hussein Adamu. He advised the participants to sensitize their state governors, local government chairmen, and other relevant administrators of SDGs and seek support and ownership.
As we domesticate the global indicators, you should be alert to the daunting challenges in the sector.
We have the charge to develop a set of indicators contextualized to our national priorities that will serve as signposts in monitoring progress.
It requires effective partnership.
An educationist from UNICEF, Rosemary Nwogu, said there is no way working in isolation can bring about good output.
If the 36 states and FCT don't report to the Federal Ministry of Education what they are doing, Nigeria will remain not available.
One big task of SDGs Goal 4 is addressing the issue of over 10 million out-of-school children in Nigeria before 2030. In Abuja, Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Garba Abari, has tasked accountants in the public service on the need to enhance their information and communication technology skills and remain professional in the discharge of their duties. He stated this at a seminar for the staff of the Finance and Accounts Department on attitudinal change in the accounting profession and contemporary issues in public finance management.
Part of the problems that Nigerians have with public servants is actually the very lackadaisical attitude, the laid-back attitude of the fact that government's job is nobody's job. Many of the persons in the finance department need to improve their
According to the director of the agency's finance and accounts, imbibing the right attitude entails adherence to ethical codes of conduct, especially in the view of accrual basis of accounting recently introduced by the federal government. And Femichit is in our Jos Network Center. She's got more reports from Jos. Femichit, it's over to you.
Hello and welcome to Jos. The federal government says it is committed to turning around the fortunes of the country, where science and technology will revamp agriculture and food production for Nigeria's large population. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investments, Dr. Okechukwu Enelama, said this during a presentation at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, NIPS Kuru. Caleb Gochin completes the report.
The minister, represented by the Director General, Industrial Training Fund, ITF, Mr. Joseph Ari, chronicled the many past policies in science and technology and observed that they failed mainly as a result of lack of continuity and commitment. He said science, technology and innovation, STI, is key in changing the fortunes of the country and that the government is doing everything to ensure that its policies are implemented to the latter.
We want to commend this present government for consolidating on the Nigerian Industrial Revolution plan of the past administration and building on the agricultural transformation agenda ATA of that administration.
Dr. Enelama charged the NIPS participants to come up with viable and workable recommendations that would accelerate the growth and development of the country. Acting Director General of NIPS, Jonathan Juma, commended the minister for a thought-provoking submission, which will spur the institution into contributing towards the success of the administration.
You remember that agriculture is the only item that you civil servants and all of us are allowed to practice without any problem. So if we all participate in the development of agriculture, we will be self-sufficient.
The National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies is the apex institution for policy research in Nigeria. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC Plateau State Command, has trained 1,500 of its personnel in the arms handling, with a charge on them not to violate basic safety rules. Correspondent Rinret Lot reports that this came during the passing out parade of the command's arms squad.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps is a paramilitary organization authorized to protect the civilian populace, infrastructure, sites and projects of the federal, state and local governments. To meet up with this responsibility, the NSCDC has a mandate to train and retrain its personnel in relevant aspects of its operation. This the Plateau State Command did as it passed out personnel trained in various areas of arms handling.
Enemy, engage!
Representative of the governor and the commandant NSCDC Plateau State Command said, since training is still as intense as ever, every member of the armed squad should strive to take public security more seriously.
As far as training is concerned, if you are able to master your weapon, you will be able to master your profession and your assignment anywhere, anytime.
The only way to feel operative is to always train and retrain them. This will allow us to meet the demand for our various operational challenges.
There were goodwill messages from STF, Prisons Authority, and the police as certificates were issued to the trainees. The trainees are the 6th batch of Arms Squad. In Jos, Rinret Lot, NTA News.
Within the last 1 month, electricity consumers in Plateau State had staged various protests expressing their displeasure with the Jos Electricity Distribution Company over outrageous tariff. The cries of affected residents of Jos were heard by the Nigerian Electricity Management Service Agency, and they are in Jos to intervene in the matter. Ijomo Zomena has more.
Managing Director, Chief Electrical Inspector, Nigerian Electrical Management Service Agency, Abuja, Mr. Peter Eweso, has directed the Jos Electricity Distribution Company to stop further installation of the new smart meters on electric poles as they are not properly certified and have not undergone routine tests. Mr. Eweso said the agency were in the state to also resolve issues bordering on the removal of devices aimed at preventing electricity risk and other dangers residents could be exposed to. The NENSA delegation will also check the efficacy of the new smart meters, adding that meters installed must meet the agency's standard.
The prepayment meters, really, if there is any reason for you to change them, it must have been that maybe they become obsolete, they can no longer be used. But if a prepayment meter is still good, is still dispensing power, and there is doubt about its integrity, all you need to do is to actually contact NEMSA, who will come to the field and check out these meters, what is their efficacy.
The delegation visited the Federal Low-Cost Housing Estate, the Mazaram community in Rayfield, where electricity consumers expressed delight with the visit by the officials of the agency. It will be recalled that residents of the Federal Low-Cost Housing Estate staged a number of protests over the new smart meters. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemina, NTA News.
And it's a wrap from Jos. Rhoda, it's back to you for more news.
Thank you, Femichid for us at our Just Network Center. Remember, you can watch this news live, online, on the go via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store, Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. Time now for us to take a break, and when we return, we've got more reports from across the country on Nationwide, so stay with us.
Change does not just happen. You and I and all of us must appreciate that we all have our part to play if we want to bring change about. We must change our lawless habits, our attitude to public office, and public trust. We must change our unruly behavior in schools, hospitals, marketplaces, motor parks, on the roads, in homes and offices. To bring about change, we must change ourselves by being law-abiding citizens.
Jesus in the west, Jesus in the north, and the south.
Hello, I'm Cyril Stober. Let me introduce you to my colleague, incisive reporter and vibrant minister of gospel music, Saint Ruben Okara. In the newsroom, we call him the Saint.
Yes. Everywhere you go.
I'd like to invite you to the public presentation of Breaking News. That's a music album by Saint Ruben Okara. And it's all taking place on Saturday, the 29th of April, 2017, at the Cultural Center, Area 10, Abuja. It's at 4 o'clock in the evening. See you there.
People lose their jobs every day. For this,
my friend, where's my change?
And this.
Where is the food I say you buy?
And this.
As I told you now, middle of express now they so.
They lose precious opportunities in life simply because they go after small extra stipends.
You know, say now where person they work, that in the chop.
Oh yes, but chop only what is rightfully yours. Or don't you agree?
The line on my line, I like. Commander of the Lion Forces.
Join us for Walk Chop, another hilarious episode of your rib-cracking comedy, Professor John Bull.
Showing at 8:30 p.m. every Tuesday and Friday on NTA Network International and Star Times. Shama! Shosa! 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 Shosa!
Over and out. Brought to you by Glow.
Welcome to the new speed of life. Do you crave class? Do you have
love taste? And do you care about comfort? If you do, then for your next event, a stay away from home, a business trip, or a holiday, visit Jade's Hotel at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Check out our world-class services, exquisite suites, restaurant and bar, gymnasium, spa and grills, and our outdoor catering services and cuisines. At Jade's, it can only be better. For bookings and reservations, visit us today at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, or visit www.jadeshotels.com. Our email address is info@jadeshotels.com. You can also call us on 09291-9321 or 0810-909-7956. Jade's Hotels. Welcome to life.
This is television reborn. Enjoy more than 200 channels. No decoder needed. The real digital TV is here. StarTimes Digital TVs.
With StarTimes, you're always a step higher. With hype, non-stop entertainment. Watch telenovelas that will keep you glued to your seat on StarTimes Novella E1. It's action time for mind-blowing moves that you can only see on StarTimes Kung Fu. With E! Entertainment, keep up with Hollywood celebrities' hot gossip. Question no more. IDX got y'all as they reveal the untold. Any day is fun day after school for your kids on Pop. Enjoy your favorite Indian shows in 8 different languages on StarTimes Bollywood. Your health, your life. Keep it locked on StarTimes Sports Life for tips. Pay 1 month basic bouquet and get 7 days of classic bouquet for free. Subscribe now. StarTimes. Enjoy digital life.
For over 25 years, I have been privileged to anchor various programs on television. But the news program that I find most exciting and challenging is The Weekend File. This is largely because of its philosophy of engaging all classes of people, the artisans, politicians, technocrats, captains of industry, and professional analysts on issues that touch all aspects of life and living. In the conversations that follow, you find complexities, different views, ideologies, thought patterns, and individual beliefs. It's quite engaging. We do this Saturdays on NTA Network Service at 9 p.m. It's Weekend File, but you call it Weekend Companion, and it's all about nation building. Join me, Kirian Umayo, and production crew every Saturday for this weekend treat, and I can tell you that it is unmissable. Make it a day.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching Nationwide on the NTA. The Deputy Chief Imam of Abuja National Mosque, Sheikh Ahmed Onilewura, has described total devotion in observing the 5 daily prayers as a key to winning the favor of Allah. Sheikh Onilewura stated this while delivering a sermon at the Friday Jumat prayers.
And the first thing we are going to be queried about when we die is about prayer. If prayer is correct, all that will be correct because Allah. May Allah make it easy for all of us.
Deputy Chief Imam prayed to God for a peaceful and prosperous Nigeria. The need to promote peace and tranquility amongst Muslims and Christians took center stage at an interactive meeting between adherents of the true religion in Gombe. Talatu Lamun reports that the event featured speakers from within and outside the country.
With the theme Religion, Peace and Community Transformation, the 4-day interactive session drew facilitators from Nigeria and the United States of America to train leaders of interfaith and deliberate on issues aimed at fostering peaceful coexistence in their host communities. Stakeholders, including traditional, community and religious leaders, took turns to preach the gospel of peace, noting that no meaningful development can take place in an atmosphere of rancor.
What we are doing is we are getting religious leaders, clergy and lay people who are Christian and Muslim to be able to think more carefully together about how do we do reconciliation and peace, even in the situations of violence.
There is no compulsion in religion. The right direction is clear from error. We learn in the Holy Quran that Christians are the people who are nearest to the Muslims.
A religion can promote peace, but some of us have gone to misuse religion to bring dissatisfaction between us as human beings created by God. A Muslim has not created himself. A Christian has not created himself. It is God Almighty who created us so that together we can live in peace.
Governor Ibrahim Hassan Dangombo, represented by Commissioner for Rural Development Hassan Ahmadu, thanked the leaders for peace building and urged them to be peace ambassadors at all times. Initiator of the Community Dialogue and Interfaith Initiative in partnership with Institute for Contextual Leadership, Reverend Abari Kala, said the session will enable participants spread the gospel of peace and harmonious coexistence among the two major religions.
One, to get the religious leaders in tune to their thinking together, coming on a common cause of pursuing peace and peaceful coexistence, and at the same time to get to know themselves so that when addressing issues of conflict within religion is easier.
Special prayers for President Muhammadu Buhari also featured. In Gombe, I am Talatu Lamon, NTA News.
And now for an update on what's happening in Port Harcourt and its environs. Let's join Miriam, who is in our Port Harcourt Network Center for that. Miriam, it's over to you.
Thank you, Rhoda, and welcome to Port Harcourt. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has attributed the success achieved by his administration in infrastructural development in the state to commitment and prudent management of funds. The governor was speaking shortly after inspecting some ongoing projects in the state. Ogedinye Ekwere completes the story.
Governor Wike explained that the state is witnessing infrastructural transformation because his administration has zero tolerance for contract inflation, which he said has hampered development in the past administrations of the state. Citing the case of Model Secondary School in Tai local government area, the governor said records available to them showed that the school was constructed.
All right, we seem to have lost signals there. We'll try to see if we can join them much later in the course of a news belt or much later in our subsequent news belt. All right, now moving on to improve the sanitary conditions of the Apo Mechanic Village, the FCT Minister Mohammed Musa Bello has directed artisans and traders to observe a 7 to 10 a.m. every Friday as environmental sanitation hours. He gave the directive during an interaction with the traders. Mitari Igben reports.
The minister told the traders that pending their relocation to the proposed Wasa spare parts market, which has been earmarked for artisans, they must ensure good sanitary condition of the Apo Mechanic Village vicinity.
We will also support you by bringing vehicles every Friday morning so that whatever you sweep, you will carry out.
He also notified the traders that the 10-lane expansion of the Outer Southern Expressway, which passes through Apo to Wasa, will compel their relocation in no distant future.
Money is a problem now. Our intention is to continue like this up to Wasa Junction. This construction company, CGC, is doing this portion. Then there's another portion that Gilmore are going to do. In fact, government approved the contract 2 weeks ago.
The traders appealed to the minister to look into the hijack of shops meant for traders in Kubwa by some individuals.
Over 4,000 shops was hijacked
under the conspiracy and connivance of the so-called leaders with some civil servants, staff of development control. Some were out of businesses. Many ended up in their villages due to frustration of lack of permanent place of doing business.
They promised to cooperate with the minister in making the territory habitable for all. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Time to criminalize and totally abolish the practice of giving cultural and tribal marks to children in Nigeria is now. These were the views of the sponsors of a bill, Senator Dino Melaye, joined by other guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, which focused on outlawing tribal marks. Fimitu Yusuf reports.
History had that the origin of tribal marks dates back to the 15th century, but now on the downward trend in this 21st century. Senator Dino Melaye revealed that his decision to sponsor the bill was predicated on a recent case of a baby somewhere in Kogi State who was put through the harrowing experience of cheek piercing in the name of tribal marks. He says looking at the extant laws in addition to the country's posture as a signatory to the Child Rights Act, any form of mark or harmful practice on a child is an infringement on the rights of the child.
In this age and time, why would any sound-minded character inflict such a pain on a child? And also, Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution that deals with our fundamental human rights, there's an infringement on the right of that child, who at that time have no defense, cannot defend themselves, cannot speak, cannot question, cannot ask. So automatically you are infringing on the right of that child, because most kids, when they grow up, there's always the problem of, there are a lot of social problems.
The professor of history and international studies, Benson Osadolo, agrees with the position of the sponsor of the bill, but was quick to point out that every age has its wisdom behind certain way of life. He, however, believes that tribal marks should no longer be permitted in the 21st century, considering numerous health implications and other social challenges surrounding it.
Every stage of development is a civilization. Let them be taught, let them be taught that what they are doing now, 21st century, is wrong. And that is the ground on which I support Senator Dino Melaye. Traditions are traditions. There are certain traditions that we can continue with, some traditions we discard. In history, we talk about change and continuity. It's not everything that we carry from the past we still retain to the present day.
It's quite surprising that this is still going on. I think it's quite barbaric, and the trauma any child has to go through, it's a process that nobody should have to go through it.
On tattoo, the guests were unanimous that it is a matter of choice, as whoever indulges in it is considered to be an adult. The bill for the prohibition of tribal marks has passed second reading at the Senate. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
All right, now let's see if we can re-establish our connection with Port Harcourt Center, where Miriam is standing by. Miriam, if you can hear me, you go ahead. We can hear you. You're on.
Thank you very much, and welcome back to Port Harcourt. Swift measures have been introduced to clamp down on criminals and oil thieves in Bayelsa State towards ensuring safety of lives and property. Commandant Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Bayelsa State, Desmond Agu, disclosed this while giving account of the command's activities in the first quarter of 2017 at the command's headquarters, Yenegua, Bayelsa State. Nkem Ije has details.
Civil Defense, as one of the agencies saddled with the responsibility of fighting oil criminals, remains at the forefront as it re-strategizes towards curtailing the anomaly. In line with this, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Bayelsa State, has arrested 11 suspects. The suspects are said to be involved in purchase and sales of illegal refined products, loaded in 6 different vehicles, including 1 Hilux, with each of the bags containing 50 liters of the product.
See this? You think that is bad? And this is blood oil. This thing was treated in order to cover it? Tell me, how can you know that something like this is inside?
Commandant NSCDC Bayelsa State, Desmond Agu, reassured the public that the command will not relent in its effort to rid Bayelsa of saboteurs of public facilities, especially critical national assets.
You know, Bayelsa is different from other states. We need boats, the gunboats, the speedboats, and the state can make us to reach to those royal places.
The commandant further appealed to members of the public to assist the command with useful information that will aid the smooth operation of their job. In Yanagawa, in Kem EJ, NTA News.
Persons living with disabilities have been urged to rise above their challenges and make positive contributions to the development of the country. These formed the thrust of the celebration of the 2017 International Deaf Women's Day, held in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Ifeoma Ihoje takes it from here.
The International Deaf Women's Day, established in 2001, is aimed at creating an enabling environment for people with hearing impairment, particularly the women and the girls. The National President, Deaf Women Association of Nigeria, Adedoyin Beyoku Alase, appreciated the federal government for its effort at ensuring the well-being of the deaf in the society and appealed for more support.
The government is not better of the people. We are preaching, inclusive. We have already been included before because we are.
Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Dr. Glory Edet, while acknowledging the government for giving persons with disabilities equal platform, urged people with hearing difficulties to take advantage of available opportunities and ensure they contribute meaningfully to the development of the society.
The state government has not relented efforts in enhancing the well-being of the deaf.
The event featured presentation of goodwill messages, cultural display and drama presentation. Sewing machines, hairdressing equipment and empowerment packages were presented to some participants.
I am very, very happy with what happened today.
The 2017 International Deaf Women's Day, held in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom State capital, had women from the 36 states of the Federation. In Uyo, Ifeoma Ihoje, NTA News.
And that's the much we can take from Port Harcourt. In line with the federal government's policy of promoting patronage of made in Nigeria products, a coalition of civil society groups has staged an advocacy walk in Abuja in support of government and to drive home the message. Mitari Ikbeng reports.
Taking their advocacy walk around the Eagle Square, members of the Civil Society Coalition for Made in Nigeria Products noted that patronage of local products by Nigerians can get the country out of recession and fast-track economic and industrial growth. They described the trend whereby the elites in the country scramble for imported products at the expense of local ones as a major economic setback.
We know in the past, what we do observe, what we do get is that this natural resource is what they take from Nigeria and export. And in return it back to us, which we begin to buy at a very expensive rate. We believe strongly that if every Nigerian believes in what we have and patronizes accordingly, we will have no reason whatever to complain about our Nigerian economy, the economy.
If we patronize Nigerian-made products, then we'll give the producers the courage they need to improve on their standard.
A lot of us buy made in Nigeria in error. We do not know we're actually buying made in Nigeria. We think we're buying foreign goods.
Everything that is taking us abroad are all here.
They called on the federal government to churn out policies that will encourage patronage of local products by Nigerians. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Our last port of call nationwide is Maiduguri. Let's join Mohammed now for reports making the round in that zone. All right, we're sorry for the loss of audio there from our Maiduguri Network Center. The Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, says the current heat wave is a seasonal activity and not too much of a threat for now, following the relief that is already underway and already being experienced in some parts of the country. General Manager, Head of Weather Forecast Services Departments of the agency, Ibrahim Ishaku, stated this on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The current heat wave, according to the head of weather forecasting services, is a global phenomenon resulting from human activities, ranging from deforestation among others. Consequently, temperatures are on the increase annually.
Temperatures have gone as far as 43, 42 degrees Celsius over the extreme north, Sokoto, Maiduguri, Yelwa, Gusau, Katsina. This has not been the case in the last maybe like 30 years ago. The maximum temperature then used to be around 38, 39, 40. But even over Lagos now, over the coastal area, temperatures are going to 38 degrees Celsius maximum, which is on the high side.
With temperature level this year observed to be significantly different from what it used to be in the last 4 decades, Ibrahim Ishaku notes that climate change is a reality that must be lived with for now, unless a deliberate step is taken towards mitigating it.
In fact, we have reached what is called the extreme heat stress, because by literature, extreme heat stress ranges between 37 and 42 degrees Celsius. Combination of high temperature and dust particles in the atmosphere triggers some of these respiratory diseases like asthma and other pneumonia and even meningitis. That has been proved.
With rainfall already being experienced in the coastal area and expected in other parts of the country latest by June, relief is imminent. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Sports update is next with Kene Imabudike.
The Executive Board of Nigeria Squash Federation rose from